You're listening to the Original Gamer Podcast. I am the Original Gamer OG from original-gamer.com. Currently, we are the #1 video game podcast on Podomatic.com. With me today, in celebration of the Super Street Fighter 4 release in April, we have been trying to get as many Street Fighter 4 pros on the show. Right now, today, we have Mike Ross, one of the greats in Street Fighter 4, one of the greats in Marvel vs. Capcom, one of the great fighting games gurus out there. Mike, thank you for being on the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Now, Mike, let's do some history here. Where did you start off gaming? Where'd you start off at?
Oh, are we talking about starting off competitively or just starting off in general?
Yeah, just in general. Where did you really just pick up a game and go?
Well, I can say, I'm 26 right now. I can say, I probably entered my first video game tournament or something. It was at a Blockbuster video store. They had a multi-game tournament, which I ended up coming in second place for, where you had to compete in 3 games. It was Virtua Racing, NBA Jam, and Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah, I did it too.
That was my very first taste at competing, in a video game, and I, really loved it, and I didn't really compete again until a number of years later. But that was my first taste at it, and I was hooked. I've been hooked. I've always been competitive now. I would say after that, it wasn't until high school, I would say, that's when I started playing more of the fighting games every day, all day, every day after school and stuff like that. And that's when I tried to start going to other arcades when there were a lot of, supposed great players, and I would try to play against them and just do what I was doing. Been doing it for years now.
And was that Street Fighter 2 that you started getting into fighting games? Was that Super Street Fighter 2?
Okay. It was actually, I'll say the first game that I took really serious was Marvel vs. Capcom 2 back in 2000. I was playing that all the time, and I started competing in it in 2001. That's when I was traveling to Southern Hills Golfland and going to tournaments there and stuff. And I was doing okay. I would get, they had 128 people at every tournament.
Tell us about the Marvel vs. Capcom the scene when it comes to pro gaming, because prior to Street Fighter 4, a lot of people came from different areas. I had Gutex, and he was in the Street Fighter 3, but you were strictly Marvel vs. Capcom 2 before Street Fighter 4? Yeah.
Before Street Fighter 4, it was it started out, of course, with Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I was playing that. The scene in that was, it was just so different because you're playing with a lot of people, and you had Shoryuken.com around, and people were still talking to people from other states and stuff like that, trying to link up and whatnot. And so whenever you had out-of-towners show up to a tournament, it was definitely a huge deal. Everybody from SoCal got banded together to try to beat the out-of-towners and stuff, and if you were the one to take them out, then you just got praised. You were looked up to as a hero and stuff. But it just still seemed really, back then it was huge. The community just felt huge. Of course, all of that would change when Street Fighter 4 came around, and then it's we laugh at it now, thinking that a 128-man tournament was big. When we had Evo and 1,000 people,
yeah,
more than 1,000 people showed up, and we're just oh, geez, we're not, wow, it just didn't seem real. But the scene itself was, it was pretty divided, meaning that of the 128 people that are showing up, there was nothing but groups and cliques of, anywhere from 3 people to 7-man teams that would make up that number. Some people would travel solo, but everybody pretty much just kept to themselves, talked to their own crews and stuff like that. Unlike Street Fighter now, where everybody talks to everybody, everybody's cool with everyone.
Right.
Marvel wasn't that open back, when it first started. It was just different.
And with Street Fighter 4,
yeah,
what was your prior to it coming out, I mean, was it sort of in the horizon that you were like, hey, this is going to be coming out, this is going to be the big thing, where you're just like, it's gonna be like Third Strike, it's not going to happen, it's not going to be popular? What was you thinking of when that sort of the buzz started happening with Street Fighter 4?
When the buzz started happening, and when I first saw the screenshots, I was pumped up for this game because it's something that like a lot of the players have always wanted. This kind of has to go back, but when I started with Marvel, but around 2005, I started playing the original, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I went back once the Anniversary Edition was released on Xbox, and I started playing that game every day, all day. Mm-hmm. And I said, wow, this game is like definitely amazing. It's a totally different game than Marvel. You're just playing your opponent, you got to read your opponent and stuff like that. It was just crazy. Like, I love the depth of it. And me and my friend that would always play together were just like saying, like, I don't know, why haven't they released a new Street Fighter? And we just kept talking about it. And then once that announcement came out and I saw those screenshots, I was pumped for it. And I remember playing it briefly at Evo 2008. And when I played it, I only got to play one game. And I said, well, it's definitely not long enough so I could see how it is, but the game feels weird. But I'm definitely going to, play it once it comes out. And, yeah, you see what happens from there.
And what was your real first time of getting on there and saying, okay, now it's time to start learning things?
Okay, interesting question, because I got a good answer for you for that.
Okay.
It started, Street Fighter, I think the first arcade in America to get it was this place called Super Arcade, and that's 3 miles from my house. So I was like, oh, this is going to be good. But when I get there, there was a line that was like an hour and a half long or something, so I didn't even bother trying to play. But then I had gone there the next day, and I put my token down when there was like maybe 5 people waiting in line. Maybe a few more, but it was around that number. And I put my token down, and then I just started playing Marvel, and I got like this huge win streak, but the time had passed, and it had been over an hour, and I decided to get up and go play Street Fighter. Right. But when I played, there was some dude that said, no, dude, you're not next. There's a list and a line of people waiting. And apparently this guy had this notepad with like 16 names on there. And I didn't even say anything. I said, dude, I've been waiting like over an hour before any of you got here. And I just played. And he gave me like this look. People were mad at me, and I didn't care.
I mean, what the hell? Was there like a velvet rope and you
right,
can't
that's
get
what I'm
in?
saying. It's like, dude, like, I don't, I've been going to this arcade for like 10 years. I don't know any of your faces. And I was honorable. I waited like an hour, and so I played my game, and I beat the dude that was playing. I beat the next guy, but then the dude that was keeping record played next, and he beat me and kind of gave me that look like, yeah, that's right, So I was like, oh, really? So what I did was I set my alarm till 9 in the morning, and I showed up to that arcade before anybody else got there, and I started playing against the computer to try to figure out, try to understand the mechanics of the game. And I was doing this for like a few days straight. I was getting there before anybody else was there, and I just kept playing. And of course now, I have played that same guy a few times since then, and he's never beaten me since that day. So
yeah, you in the end you came out on top.
Yes, correct.
Now that with the arcade, tell me about it real quick with the cabinet. Was it simply just like the one cabinet with 2 people on it? Was it the Japanese style where it had opposite ends? How was it set up over there?
It was a Japanese setup, side by side. It wasn't, head to head. So you're sitting right next to your opponent, but you have your own dedicated machine.
Okay.
So you're not bumping elbows or anything.
Yeah.
But it was on a standard definition. It wasn't on the HD screens or anything. But it was fine, I enjoy it that way. I prefer the HD screens, but I'll deal with what I'm given.
Yeah, because over here, I'm based in San Antonio, Texas, and just a little bit north in Austin, Fubar Duck, he runs a place called Arcade UFO. It's Japanese arcade in Austin, and he has the setup like in the Japanese, where it's on the opposite ends, and you don't even really see your opponent.
Right.
So that really threw me off when I first saw it. So here you are. I mean, I just saw that like 6 months ago. Here you are a year before me,
Right.
even before the game came out for the consoles, and you're already kicking everybody's asses.
Yeah, I was doing all right. I was getting there. I was doing all right. It took me about 2 months, before I started getting like 30-game win streaks, 40-game win streaks, 60-game win streaks, and stuff like that.
See, I barely get over 10, and I'm ecstatic. So I mean, goddamn 60, shit.
Hey, they got people out there that are like that C60, and they just laugh at that. But like for me, I'm just thinking it's good. That's somewhat credible. I'll be happy with my 60.
So let's talk about your progress in the game. So you start off in the arcades. You take 2 months, get on there, start working it. What I really want to get into is, I mean, your main character, the main character that you're known for, really the ideal character is E Honda. How long was it? I mean, was it right off the bat that you picked him and you just stick with him, or was it something you eventually learned and just like, hey, no one else is using him, I might as well?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. I used him. I messed around with him in Super Turbo and stuff like that, so I knew how he played, of course. But when I first picked up the game, I started off with Guile, and then I went to Zangief, and then I started using Balrog, and I was pretty set on Balrog, but he just kind of felt really boring to me at the time, and I wanted a different character. So I said, well, nobody picks Honda, and I kind of know how he plays, so I'm going to pick him up. And when I started playing with him, I was beating people doing just like the most basic things. And I was like, this is really effective in this game. People like to jump, and Honda's good at stopping people from jumping. So yeah, everything, like, it just worked well. Like, I feel really comfortable using Honda. The more I play the game, I wish I had stuck with somebody else a little better, but I'll work with what I'm given.
With the release of Street Fighter 4 on the consoles, I mean, that was most of America's first taste of Street Fighter 4. And right away, GameStop has a Street Fighter 4 tournament.
Yeah.
How was that? What was the feeling when that was announced for Street Fighter 4? Especially with you guys who were playing it already for a good 6-7 months before it even came out.
When that tournament was announced, I'm not gonna lie, as soon as it was announced, I was telling people too. I said, well, I guess I'll be seeing Justin Wong in the finals.
Ah, no you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I said I'll be seeing Justin Wong in the finals as soon as it was announced, because we had made a little plan here in SoCal. We had planned that because we had so many heavy hitters here, that we would divide up the players and we would go to separate states and separate regions and all qualify, and then like we would make it down to the finals, and then we would just have a good time, and share the wealth of the prize, But what had happened was people were getting knocked out from whatever reasons they would lose, and I just happened to be the last survivor from SoCal, and so I had to try to represent. But I just knew from the start I was gonna be placed up against Justin. I just didn't know that it would be as bad as it was. I didn't know I'd lose that bad.
Well, still, I mean, this was really, it really changed everything. It really just, I mean, prior to this, there was rarely any competition that was available, and there wasn't really a lot of talk about it. And then all of a sudden, this comes around, and gamers everywhere hear about this guy Justin Wong and this other guy named Mike Ross. How was that feeling though? After, I mean, you did lose, but I mean, how was that feeling afterwards? That all of a sudden, people all across the internet knew who you were because of Street Fighter 4.
All over the internet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm sure they did know you because of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and that had its highs. But I mean, in comparison, this was I won't say Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was minor league ball, but I mean, this was major league where everybody really got a chance to see who you were.
Right. Like, to go back, that's good. It's good that you bring that up, because I was saying, with the Marvel tournaments, like 128-man tournaments compared to 1,000-man tournaments. In Marvel, we're talking like 1,000 spectators as opposed to like 100,000 now. You know, so the difference between having people know me from Marvel and Street Fighter 4 is unbelievable to me. Like my friends have witnessed this and stuff. It wasn't too long ago when I was just at, you know, a museum in another county, like not close to my home, and I'm just walking around there with somebody else, and somebody sees me and recognizes me and just like is going crazy pretty much, you know? And like when I witnessed that, I was just like, it's kind of crazy that this is happening, you know? I would have never thought in a million years this would happen from playing a video game, you know?
Yeah, it's
crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's just crazy. So let's talk about this with your newfound popularity. I mean, come on, you're a black guy. I'm a black guy. How have the ladies been? Okay, I'm not black, but I mean, come on.
Nice. You fooled me. You fooled me. Oh man. Yo. So, what about it though?
We'll talk about the ladies later. So.
Okay. All right.
Has there been some Street Fighter groupies? That's what I want to know. Because if there are, then I'm gonna get into it 24/7. Because there's Halo groupies, and that's getting me. But
I mean,
I know but yeah.
How do I answer that question?
Well, we'll just leave it to that. You know, when Evo comes around, and if I go and I see you just surrounded by ladies, I'll be like, well, that's Mike Ross, and that's him. That's him handling it.
Well, you know, yeah. I mean, if that happens, I'll be a happy man.
All right, so let's get you back on the subject here. Which
okay, we can come back.
So the GameStop tournament comes along again. Almost overnight, you're part of this elite group of gamers that people know about. You're not one of those guys that's on Fatality or Billy Mitchell, but all of a sudden, I mean, really because of YouTube and forums and all this, you're one of the names now. And what came after that? What followed up with the GameStop where it was still like just another roller coaster ride? What was the next big thing for you?
Okay, your line of questioning is godlike. I like it. Okay, so the next big roller coaster ride. What happened? That was the GameStop tournament was middle of April.
Right.
After that, I got flown out to New York for a tournament called East Coast Throwdown out there. It was actually held in New Jersey, but I was in New York just a day before just to like kind of hang out and stuff.
Yeah.
And when I went out there, I had gone to the New Jersey tournament, and immediately, you know, the East Coast had, I guess, a perception of me where they just saw me strictly from the YouTube videos. And I played my very first match, and, you know, there were people shouting in the background saying, like, this ain't GameStop, you know, this is a real tournament now, welcome to the East Coast, blah, blah, blah. But I kind of let that get to me like an amateur, which I shouldn't have, and I ended up losing my very first match. And I didn't get to play again until the next day. So I had to hold that loss in me for good, like, 20 hours. And, you know, I had gone out there with Gutek, so he knew how mad I was. Mm-hmm. But I was cool. I was like, you know what? I just have to wake up tomorrow and start over, pretty much. Like, start from scratch in the loser's bracket. But I'll make it to top 8. I'm not even worried about that. So the next day, I had to go back, and I had to play against this guy who I also played in the GameStop tournament. And from what I had heard, he was talking trash, saying that I got lucky in GameStop and that he would beat me the next time we played. Sure enough, we played. It got close, but I ended up smacking him, so he was done out of the tournament. And then I ended up going through a gauntlet and beating like 8 more people straight, or some number, crazy number like that. And I made my way back to top 8, only to lose to Gutex. So, you know, that kind of sucks that I had to play, you know, the guy I traveled up there with. But I did what I had to do. I made my goal there, so that was good. That let me know that, you know, getting as far as I did in GameStop wasn't luck, but that I was a pretty decent player. That was May. Yeah. Then, you know, the roller coaster, it kind of kept going. once I got back. I don't know. All right. What was your next question before I go into anything else?
Well, let's because that was May. Then
Okay.
a couple months later, that's Evo 2K9.
Okay.
Now, give me your history with Evo, because I think almost 99% of the people that knew about Evo only knew about the Justin Wong video against Daigo with the Street Fighter 3 and and then that whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that was everybody sort of like, oh my God, there's a tournament there, and then but I mean, give me your history with Evo, because when did you start off with Evo and the build up to Evo 2009?
I started Evo when they first started Evo back in 2002. I mean, they ran tournaments before that called like, you know, the B5, B4 and stuff like that in NorCal. But when they brought it down to Southern California, they called it Evo. And it started in 2002 at UCLA. And from there, I went in there, you know, I was excited to hear that Japanese players were coming down. And at the time, you know, all I hear about is how good Japanese players are at everything. And my whole goal was to be able to play a Japanese player in Marvel and beat him. And, you know, my dream came true. I had to play against a guy named Liquid Metal, and he used to make these really cool combo videos and stuff for the game. And when I got to play him, I was just like, I was pumped up. And sure enough, like, I destroyed him, and after the game, I went to go shake his hand, but he didn't acknowledge it, and he just slammed the machine and walked away. So I said, "Yes, I did my job. Welcome to Evo."
Well, the Japanese aren't big keen on black people either, so that's probably another story.
Right.
So, and what did they have at that first Evo? It was just Marvel vs. Capcom 2, like Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Capcom vs. SK. Yep. What was it?
Yeah, it was Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Capcom vs. SNK 2, I think. That was, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was there. Yeah. Third Strike, boy, I don't know if Guilty Gear was there yet. Probably not. I don't know. Maybe that was it. I'm not too sure. That's a good question.
Okay. And then
it was too long ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, so. And then, I mean, that was 2002. When, when did you, how did it progress? Was it slightly bigger each year? Was there a year where it just blew up? I mean, aside from 2009?
Okay, from 2002, you know, it was big. You know, people saw that and they're like, wow, this is a big event. And then it got bigger at Cal Poly when they had it the next year, 2003. And I believe 2004 was even bigger at Cal Poly. It kept getting bigger. It didn't get smaller. 2005 was their big jump when they decided to move it to Vegas. That was a big year. 06, another big year. 05 and 06, they had Toyota sponsoring it, so the prizes were like just huge, bigger than anything we were like ever been used to. And 07, another big year. 08, another big year, because 08 was good because that's when they, you know, brought Street Fighter 4 and Tatsunoko vs. Capcom down there to test out. But it stayed in Vegas since 05, and it just keeps getting bigger. And you already know what happened last year, so.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I just want to know, because I'm a Vegas aficionado. I enjoy the city. I'm all over it. Where did it, regarding venues, where did it start off at? Because last year it was at the Rio. This year it's going to be at Caesars Palace. So that's like a big jump. But prior to that, where was it?
05 was at Green Valley Ranch, I believe.
Yeah, Green Valley Ranch. Mm-hmm.
It was in Henderson, Nevada. But it was like, 15 minutes from everything else. So you're in Vegas pretty much.
Yeah.
And then 06, it went to Red Rock Casino. In 05, in 07, it went back to Green Valley. 08 was at Tropicana.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to make sure that I'm right. Yeah.
Oh, no, believe me, I would correct you because, like I say, I know all the casinos.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it was at Tropicana, and then 09. Where was it last year?
It was at the Rio.
My memory's getting worse.
Yeah, it was at the Rio.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. At the Rio, okay, yeah, I was at the Rio last year, and now it's at Caesar's Palace. And I'm just thinking it's kind of crazy because now I'm playing, in the same place where Mike Tyson used to fight and stuff like that. So I'm getting hyped up just thinking about it.
I mean, where Mike Tyson used to fight, where Hagler and Hearns used to fight. You're playing where the World Series of Poker is.
Yeah, this is epic. This is Caesar's Palace. This is legit.
I mean, Celine Dion's going to be there. Maybe she'll join in. I mean, that'd be great.
Right. So,
jeez. So 2009 comes along, and of course, the big title for 2009 Evo is Street Fighter 4. When did you really? What did you really just say? Like, I mean, was it the GameStop tournament where people were talking about it, that Evo is going to be huge? Was it the East Coast Throwdown? Was it like between there where it was just like, holy shit, this is going to be the biggest thing ever?
It was definitely the GameStop tournament because when we were there, I had never seen anything like this. For the finals that were in San Francisco, they just had, they made an event out of the top 8. I've never seen that before. And, with Fighting Forever, where it's just an event for one day out of a top 8. And to get 1,500 to like 2,000 people just showing up just to watch, inside the place, I didn't know what to do. I just thought that was amazing. I'm expecting maybe 32 people show up. But to see 1,500 people in the crowd and asking for your autograph and taking pictures with you is just crazy. Was not expecting that. And the dude, Mr. Wizard, was there, and Seth Killian. These people, like, they have a great... they are pretty much Shoryuken and stuff like that. Or the Evo event, at least. And just talking to Mr. Wizard, he was saying he expected 1,000 people to be showing up for Evo. And I thought that number was just crazy and out of this world, but sure enough, he was right.
Yeah, 1,000 people and like 30,000 people that were watching it on the stream. And
right.
I was there, and it was, I mean, I was impressed by the presentation, because this was really my first time to really take a look at the best players, and I think I was podcasting at the time. I'm like, do you see this shit? I mean, what the hell is that move? I can't do that move.
Right.
I've been playing Street Fighter 4 for a couple months straight. I can't do that. And it really just blew my mind, because it was just this phenomenal top-tiered gameplay, and with me, I've always been the guy that says, you know what, we as gamers can get behind a good quality product as long as it's presented in a good quality way that sort of talks to us but doesn't talk down to us, like previous TV shows that do video games. It's just, oh, did you know there was a Halo game coming out? Yeah.
Right.
And this was one where, I mean, they're using Seth especially. He was using lingo, and I'm like, he's got me confused. I don't know what the backdash focus FADC
right.
all this is going on, but hey, it's something for me to look up.
Yep.
And
I think. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, and then what was that feeling in the event? I mean, was it just, this is crazy, this is gonna be phenomenal, this is gonna be? What was your feeling?
We're talking about when I was in San Francisco or Evo?
Evo.
Evo was not the best experience for me, actually.
Yeah.
Because what should I be saying? Well, let's just say I wasn't going in there with the right mindset. I wasn't, clear-headed, because I was bringing a lot of unnecessary drama with me, and I regret that. But it's like, I wish I could have done it over again and gone with a clear mind and stuff like that. But we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
But being there, I was there, and like I wasn't there at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Oh no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah. So I didn't get to put my all into it.
Now this is going to be a little touchy subject.
Okay.
So bear with me. And by all means, I won't edit this out. But I mean, I'll take your silence as approval. You had sort of this relationship that I mean, people that have listened to my podcast, they know who.
Okay.
But you have this relationship going on with someone else that's pro gamer.
Okay.
And how was that all of a sudden that now that's it's not TMZ, but
Right.
there's ink, there's words going on. There's MySpace and Facebook and Twitter that are like, did you hear this?
Okay, like it's funny, because obviously I've never talked about it like publicly, anything about it pretty much, but for some reason I feel like I can talk to you about it.
I do that.
So where do I start with that? I can tell you how I felt about it, and I guess this is just where it was like a difference, just a difference in like mindsets. Since you mentioned all the Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, and stuff, I felt like that got in the way of everything because I felt it was more of like a relationship, and I didn't feel that Twitter, Facebook, and MySpace should have such a strong impact on our relationship. I wanted that stuff to kind of stay out of it. Like I was going out with you, I'm not going out with Twitter and stuff like that. And apparently, just things happened, things went sour, and now I guess I have to face the consequences, and I have to be prepared to get bashed at every possible moment. Anytime I do bad, I'm going to have my friends send me a message, oh, did you hear what so-and-so said? And I'm like, dude, like, really, I just don't care. I just don't care. I'm going to get bashed no matter what. So do your worst. Say whatever you want. It's not going to stop me from doing whatever I do in a day.
Now that's and it's when I first got wind of that with I just have to say it was CG.
Okay.
I'll just might as well say it because again trust me.
No, it's cool. I can handle it, so it's okay.
No, but I mean, trust me, we talk about CG quite a bit, especially with our Ultimate Gamer wrap-ups that we used to do, and now we're doing the Tester wrap-ups. She comes up in conversation quite a bit on our side. Okay. Yeah. So let's all of a sudden you're kind of put out there where your business is out on the internet.
Yes.
And it's like all you did was come in second in the tournament. Why is your business everywhere?
Good question. Good question.
Good question. I mean,
that did bother me a lot.
Yeah, she didn't win her thing, but she was on a TV show. You come second place in the biggest tournament, fighting game tournament in the U.S., and all of a sudden it's a goddamn TMZ fest without TMZ there.
Right, and I noticed that too, and it was interesting, because I mean from the get-go, anything that was mentioned online was usually negative. It was usually negative, like a lot of negativity towards her, and that that bugged me, I was like, nah, she's a good person and whatnot and stuff. And a lot of people told me, yeah, well, did you see her on the TV show? I was like, nah, I refuse to watch the TV show. I'll just take her for what she is. But, hey, what am I about to say? You're trying to get me to talk bad about this person.
No. You just let it flow out naturally.
Let me gather my sentence. Hold on.
It's just you, me, a couple thousand people. But, I mean, it's us black guys. Come on.
right. But no. So basically, once the business started getting out there, it didn't bother me so much because I never really put my business out there. So whatever people, were speculating, that's just all it was speculation and stuff. But she always felt the need to put everything out there on the internet, and that's what bothered me.
Oh, trust me, I follow her on Twitter. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But now, hey, I put whatever you want on your Twitter account. You wanna bash me, you wanna make a recent Twitter message saying that all E-Honda players are gay, that's fine. Like, I really don't care. I guess I'll just, be the gayest man on earth and keep winning with Honda. Whatever, it's not gonna bother me.
All right. Well, let's get away from the drama. Let's just wash away the drama. Let's get back to some serious business. So, E-Honda, you've been playing him for a while, and how do you I mean, how does one get better with a character? I mean, do you get better? Is it just you go better at strategizing? Is it just a matter of that you're better? You just perform better at knowing more of how the other guys go. I mean, what is it that allows you to sort of say, okay, there's still room for improvement? What do you focus on?
You got to practice in stages. You got to the first thing you got to look at is, when you play somebody and you lose, you have to figure out, like, people say, how did I just lose to this guy, or this guy destroyed me so bad, how did that happen? And they're asking the wrong questions. What they should be asking themselves is, how did I just get hit? Like, anytime you get hit, is ask yourself, how did I just get hit? And the chances are, however you got hit by that like 20 times in the same round. And once you stop doing that certain thing, you've already eliminated that possibility of getting hit that way. That's just one small step to look at. You got to look at, am I landing my combos? Do I keep dropping my combos? And if you're messing them up, that's an easy fix, sort of. You just got to work on your execution, figuring out what your flaws are, and of course learning how to read your opponent, which is the hardest step. And that comes after playing so many matches against so many different people. You start seeing patterns in the way people play. And that's why I get so mad when I lose a lot, is because I ended up becoming so predictable that the person just knew how I played, and it's bothersome. But yeah, it's just you just gotta break your game down into small training obstacles. Narrow it down, work on all of your flaws, but mainly figure out why you keep getting hit.
Speaking of
just work.
Speaking of the mad, because when I was in tournaments with Tekken Tag, one of the things that got me was that the player would come up, and I knew he wasn't familiar with my character, Paul Phoenix, and all of a sudden he picks Paul Phoenix just to spite me, and that pissed me off. Mm-hmm. What are some things that really just, this motherfucker, and you just want to beat his ass?
Right.
What are some of those things?
When that happens, when I go into a match and I see somebody pick Rufus or somebody pick Sagat, like, I'm already upset, like, fortunately, I say, well, I've played hundreds of this character, and yes, now you have just, like, given yourself a great chance at beating me, but as long as I play it perfect, I should still win. But it's still bothersome because they have such an easier time, and if they beat me, then they want to go and dance and throw a party and think that they're the best in the world and stuff like that, but it's just... Bad matchups really annoy me. They really bother me, and I hope it gets fixed in Super Street Fighter 4.
All right, let me just make a quick note here. Don't play Sagat against Mike.
Yes, good.
And here. Okay, just personal notes.
Stay on my good side. Please don't pick that character.
Yeah, I mean... it's funny because that's kind of leads me into another question. Because with myself, when I first started playing Street Fighter 4, I tried of course, right, you can try that out, and I wasn't really feeling that, and then I jump into Sagat, and I'm like, wow, there's something about him that's really better than everybody else. And then there was Zangief, and I'm like, there's something really good about him, but Sagat's really better than everybody else. I have that feeling. And sure enough, I found out that I was right, because then they said, oh yeah, Sagat's the best player in the game. What baffles me, because I went to that Arcade UFO had a tournament, and no one was using Sagat. Maybe like one other guy. There was like 60 people there. It was me and another guy, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm gonna get booed out of this place because no one's using Sagat. Right. And I get it all the time when I'm playing on Xbox Live, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm gonna really get booed here. But then just a couple weeks ago, I look at the Japanese top players in the listing, and 5 of the 10 use Sagat. What is it?
I think it was 6. It was like 6 of the 10. I think it was 60%.
I mean, is it just? What do you think about that? Because I think it's just a totally I think it's just more of a mindset. It's that they realize, hey, he's the best. Fuck it, I'm gonna use him.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly what it is. There was like maybe one Honda in the top 50, and he was at like number 18 or something like that. But yeah, like when I saw that, I was kind of I was actually upset. Because it just goes, it tells me it's like these dudes, like, they don't even care. Like you said, they just want to win. And they might as well pick the best character in the game to do it with.
But that's kind of, but it's counterproductive because on one end we're like, well, a bunch of scrubs are just using the best character in the game, but on the other end they're still pretty fucking good.
Right. And I'm not taking anything away from them. Don't get me wrong, because if you took that character out, I'm still 100% sure that they'll beast on all of us. But it just sucks that they're using that character. I hate that character so much. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna use them too if I have to.
It's funny like that, and it's just like stepping on our own toes. Like, hey, we're gonna go over there and beat their ass. Not gonna use the best player, but we're gonna go over there and beat their ass.
Right.
And it just boggles my mind because I remember back when I was in the Tekken scene, with Tekken, it was like, okay, you're gonna pick Hayachi, you're gonna pick Jin Kazama, you're gonna pick Lei Wulong, and you're gonna pick like one or two other characters, and that's it. I mean, you're familiar with that, Marvel vs. Capcom. You don't have people using BB Hood or freaking Gambit. They stick with like the same 10 characters. Yep. And I mean, has there ever been any talks where someone just says, what the fuck are we doing? Let's just pick the best guys. Or everybody just says, no, we're going to stick the way it is, and we're going to beat them with the characters we like playing. Is that anybody?
Yeah, mostly people they just end up loving the characters, and they'll just stick with them, no matter how garbage they are. I'm lying. That's only a small handful. Not most people. That's a small handful. Like when I started the game, I was picking Hayato and stuff on Marvel, but it was Cable Hayato Sentinel. All I had to do was drop Hayato and put Captain Commando on there, and now I got a top-tier team. Yeah. But, yeah, you got to drop the garbage characters, I think, if you want to really, really do good in tournaments. But some people don't want to because it gets boring, and it's true. Like, once everybody's playing the best characters, that's when the game's done. It's just boring.
Well, I mean, when I think about it, it's kind of the I think it was Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, where it was like no Akuma rule, and it's I'm still like, well, it's not the same with Sagat because people still choose him and they don't win all the time. It's just
it's true. Like and that's what kind of bothers me here. You go to Japan, they got a Sagat, he's winning the tournament, but here it's like our Sagats are not getting first place all the time, and they should be. Well, because the character's just so amazing.
I really want to talk to Gutex about that because I remember him. He was just really just raging on, I fucking hate Sagat players. God damn.
Yeah. Like Sagat really does. It really frustrates me. I used to just hate him, but now it's just like it's annoying to me. Like when I see that character picked and I'm playing Honda, I really want to just rage on the inside, but I maintain my composure since other people are watching. Otherwise, if I was at home, I'd break my second Xbox Live headset.
Let's talk about that because so there's Xbox Live and then there's the arcade. What is your main way of practicing? Because on one end, Xbox Live, you got to deal with the lag. But on the other end, the arcade, you got to pay fucking money every time you go.
Right. So somebody mentioned, I can't remember who mentioned it to me. Maybe it was James Chen talking about how the benefits of playing in the arcade is when you're playing, even if it's just for a quarter, you're playing more serious because you put you got money on the line.
Yeah.
You want to make the best out of your quarter. So you do play better in the arcade. But fortunately, they've gotten some online tournaments going around for like Xbox and probably PS3 as well. And when you play in those, even though you're relaxed, you still got to play like this. I think it's really good. It helps people like that couldn't get that help before. Back when I started Marvel, the only way you get better is if you play against all the good people at a certain arcade. There was no online playing, so you couldn't really see how people from the East Coast are playing, or just other areas. You had to go actually physically to the arcade. But with Street Fighter 4, it changes all that. And now you can be the best from your home and never have to leave the house.
Well, you can be the best, but, I mean, you still got to show up somewhere to really prove it.
Yeah, you still got to show up, but, you can definitely get a lot better from home now.
Yeah. And it really, when you think about it, with Super Street Fighter 4 coming out, because that's not going to be in your arcades.
Right.
That's strictly going to be on the consoles, and it's going to, well, I mean, it's going to change a few things around. I mean, of course, with the new game, but also, I mean, what's going to be, what's your guys' setup right now for when Super Street Fighter 4 comes around? Is it going to be automatically everybody jumps into it and like LA Rights and bar fights that Gootecks is running, automatically it's going to be boom, we're getting into that? Are they going to still try to keep the Street Fighter 4 going on? I mean, have you heard about that? What are they going to try to do?
Well, I hope that they switch right away, you know, because I don't want to hold on to Street Fighter 4 any longer, knowing that a new game is coming out that's supposed to be better and improve on a lot of areas where Street Fighter 4 lacked. So we should just phase that out, you know, as soon as Super comes out. You know, I don't even care if Street Fighter 4 may have done certain things better. It's just the fact that Super is what's going to be the end thing. More characters, more stages. We should just strictly focus on that. And I believe, yeah, Evo is Super Street Fighter 4. So we shouldn't even be touching the regular Street Fighter anymore.
You had a chance to play Super Street Fighter 4, right?
No, I did not.
I thought you did.
No, unfortunately, I didn't. But however, I've heard like pretty much everything about it already, so I'm up to speed on it. I should be able to answer any questions.
Well, I mean, you know, there's a lot of information out there about the new characters. What have any of the new characters sort of said? I'm in there. You know, anyone that says screw Honda, I'm gonna go this route.
No, none make me say that, but there's definitely characters that make me say, "Oh, I'm in there," but none make me drop Honda. T-Hawk is gonna make me, you know, want to practice him. That new grappler dude, his name is Hakan or something like that.
Yeah.
I just want to use him because he sounds like a stupid character that I can talk trash to people while I'm playing because he's all oiled up or something, and he grabs people. I mean, he's oiled up and he grabs people. How can you not talk trash when you're using that character? So I'm definitely gonna be. I'm in there on that. I'm in there.
Give us your mindset about the new game, because when that's going to come out, what is going to be your first thing that you're going to do? Are you going to look at the new characters? Are you going to just go with E Honda and just try everything out and see what changed? What are you going to do? I
heard a couple changes with E Honda, but I can't really say what they are yet. But
you can't say what they are? What the hell are you going to do? Kill me?
I'm not supposed to be talking about it, really. I've been giving that silent treatment on that, but
there's a non-disclosure agreement for what happened to E Honda. Did I miss the boat here?
I mean, like,
did people at Capcom just say sign this and I'll tell you everything about E Honda? Is that what they did?
I'll just say, like, you know, I spent so much time complaining about how bad E Honda is and give him this, give him that, and I think Capcom probably, as a practical joke on me, decided to make Honda worse just to shut me up.
You don't say.
So he got a good Ultra, a decent second Ultra, I'll say, but that's all he got, pretty much.
But
he got nothing else.
So I mean, are you gonna still like, okay, I'm gonna try everything with Honda, or are you gonna try and say, okay, let me see what Cody's up to?
Actually, you know what? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna spend like 2 minutes in training mode with Honda just to see if there's any noticeable difference, you know. But after those 2 minutes, I'm going straight to T-Hawk for a bit, and then I'm gonna go to that new guy. The only reason why, like, I'm not really buzzed about the Third Strike characters or Guy, Cody, and Adon or whatever. It's just because I never really played Alpha, and I never really played Third Strike, so those characters are just foreign to me, and they just don't look that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Adon looks interesting because he's kind of like Sagat, so
yeah,
he looks like he could be fun.
And there's plenty of changes going on. I mean, of course, with the new characters, and it's becoming a big deal, and it's interesting, right. The new jump that's going to happen. Let me ask this: What's in store for Mike Ross? I mean, that's such a generic question, but I mean, come on, what's in store for you? What do you have in the works? What do you have plans for? What's going on?
We're talking Street Fighter related?
Well, whatever.
Ah, man, it's Jesus. Like, so many, these questions. You got great questions, and there's like answers I want to give, but I don't know if I'm just ready to give it yet. But there's some stuff in store. Like right now, I'm still just trying to get past all the nonsense and stupid drama I had to deal with, because like it's still there for some reason and it shouldn't be. But I'm just getting past all of that nonsense.
It's still there. That's funny.
yeah. What else? There's been some talks going on, and like some possible Street Fighter plans with a possible a new crew kind of starting up, trying to get some stuff going with Street Fighter. And since that's just in talks, there's like really nothing much to say unless it's unless I know it's official and it's actually happening. But if it does happen, then there could be some really good information to tell you about that. But what else is going on? People right now, we're just all kind of in this little grace period waiting till Super Street Fighter 4 comes out just to see how this is going to affect us. Because, you're not going to hear from any of the players for like 2 weeks because everybody's going to be in training mode,
Yeah, that's why I wanted you guys on now before,
Right. Yeah, we're all going to be in the lab for like a good week or two. And then once we come up for fresh air and sunlight, then I'm actually kind of scared to see what happens,
Then you'll be on the Twitter just like, oh my God, I got it, or oh shit.
Right, exactly. Well, Twitter might be shut down for 2 weeks. Like I said, nobody's going to be tweeting anything. They're just going to be playing.
All the streams shut down.
No streams for a while. But but there's, don't get me wrong, there is some stuff in store with the release of Super Street Fighter 4, and that'll be interesting. Some possible big events that may happen. So definitely look forward to that. Other than that, what I got planned is just stuff. You may hear about it eventually, but it's interesting.
It's Mike Ross for you people, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Vague over here. Vague Ross. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks.
I'm sorry. I just don't know what. But
you heard it here first. He's got to do something.
Man. Well,
geez. Well, I mean, I'll be happy to have you on after we found out what that something is. Let's start wrapping up and try to. Goddamn phone. I always forget to put it on vibrate. Now, let's try to end with some more lighter notes.
Okay.
The whole East Coast West Coast thing. When I first heard about it, I just laughed because you just can't help but laugh because there's
right
because I mean there's no I mean it's so 1996 and
correct
and
yeah.
It's funny like that because with all the pro gaming that's been going on, I mean I don't see Halo 3 teams, so East Coast West Coast. I don't see StarCraft 2 people East Coast West Coast. World of Warcraft East Coast West Coast. But it's like the main thing behind Street Fighter, the Street Fighter 4 scene. It's like the key, the engine that keeps on going and keeps on really plowing through the East Coast West Coast. I mean, how did this whole really thing begin? What was the game that you remember that said, okay, these East Coast motherfuckers are gonna get it?
Oh man, it was of course for me, it was Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and interesting experience for me. I'm from LA. And the people that play the game down here, you've seen most of the pictures, I guess. Our demographic is pretty random. We got Asian players, white players, Mexican players, and like 1 or 2 black players, maybe 3, and stuff like that. And, we just play the game. And it wasn't until 2003 EVO at Cal Poly when I had heard that the East Coast Marvel players were coming down. I've just seen the names, but I've never seen them. And, they come down, and I see this crowd of black dudes playing Marvel, talking trash, and they were like godlike. They were beasts at the game. And I was wondering, like, who are these dudes? And they said, oh, that's East Coast. I'm like, what? They said, that's East Coast. Like, all these black dudes? Yeah, that's East Coast. That's New York. That's Philly. I'm like, wow. I had no idea. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, so that's why we got trash talking. It all makes sense now, But it was crazy to see that, and that's kind of like, I'm not gonna say like I didn't build hate up. There's no way I built it. I was like happy to see that, but I could definitely see why there was rivalry now, because they're gonna bring the trash talk in like no problem. But it was interesting. That's where it started, and from 2003 to 2004, I could say it was like friendly rivalry. We didn't want to lose to them, they didn't want to lose to us, and then later, like around 2006, it kind of got a little more hectic with a little more drama, as you've probably heard, with that Dark Prince character and stuff like that. The drama just skyrocketed. It then kind of got out of control.
Wait.
And then so I was like, I'm like,
you got to tell me this, because I'm clueless on what this is. Give me a quick summary of what Dark Prince.
Oh yeah. There is no quick summary on that. That's like another 12-hour discussion, but I'll try my best. He was a Marvel player. He had gone to the East Coast, and he was, him and this other dude from New York were talking trash online and stuff, and they decided to play each other for money when he went out there. I think it was just a 4 out of 7 game, and Dark Prince was up 3-0, and then the other guy from New York came back and beat him 4 straight. And after that, you can find this like on YouTube and stuff if you type in Dark Prince pretty smile or something, and that video will pop up where you can see the drama that occurs afterwards. And from that moment, that's when Dark Prince came back and just changed. He was like, that's when he just got crazy. That's when he didn't want to, like, he brought too much like gangster stuff to Marvel.
It got really Biggie Tupac all of a sudden, right?
What's up?
It got Biggie and Tupac type scenarios, huh?
Yeah, it definitely did. It definitely did. And then he was just like starting problems with the whole entire East Coast. Nobody liked him, and then he started starting a lot of problems with everybody out here on the West Coast. And then he just vanished from the scene once Street Fighter 4 came out. So that's pretty much it. But by the end of that drama, I had already just kind of like left the Marvel scene and was just waiting for Street Fighter.
And then with Street Fighter 4, the GameStop tournament itself, it was you and Justin Wong, East Coast, West Coast.
Yep.
And
East Coast, West Coast. We're back. We're back at it, And East Coast, they're always going to hold the thing to make sure that they're better than West Coast. Always, always. It's just in their blood. So no matter what, anytime we play, it's always going to be extreme tension between us. But as you know, now we swooped up Justin. Now he's on the West Coast. We bought him.
It was a free agent, and just boop, picked him up.
Yep. Me and Justin Wong will be teaming up for the next team tournament.
That itself is an interesting way of how things turn around.
Yes, it is. Can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
With East Coast, West Coast, there's always going to be rivalry. Always, always, always going to be rivalry.
Even with the whole Justin Wong moving to the West Coast, even then, it's still there. It hasn't sort of dwindled down because all of a sudden,
right?
It's still there.
Right.
It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. All this means for East Coast is now there's people who are hungry, like Sanford Kelly, to step up and take Justin's throne. That's it. They're not fazed by it. They don't care. They're just going to step up, and if anything, it's going to make East Coast even hungrier now to be better than us.
It's going to make for some interesting times ahead.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait till Evo.
Now, last thing, again, lighter note. All the tournaments you've done, what's been the craziest, funniest thing you've seen at one of the tournaments? What's one of those stories?
I got lots of stories.
I'm ready to hear them because I love stuff like this.
Okay, one of the craziest stories. Oh man, I can't put dude on blast, but let me think.
Sure you can. Come on, it's just me, you, a couple black guys.
Okay. Okay. Well, okay. Twice when I thinking. Let me think. I mean, I can start from. Jeez. Let me think about this. Let me think about this. I'm trying to think of like what are some good ones to tell you.
I mean, come on, did someone just like cry?
2006, 2007. Dark Prince gets banned from Evo. They had to call the cops on him, and they had a warrant out for his arrest. And I had to help him so that he wouldn't get arrested and stuff like that.
Nice. Mike Ross just admitted to harboring a felon. All right. Let's hear from Mike Ross.
I've done it all. I've done it all.
LVPD is going to be on the lookout.
Right. Let's see. I mean, NorCal, I just think NorCal is just kind of funny because I had just come back from there, and I mean, if I mention it, everybody's going to know who I'm talking about that's in the scene. So it's like I'm not really being clever with it, but, you know, when I went out there, they had, you know, they were going to have me money match some people from NorCal, you know, and my boy out there, yo, Ryan, Filipino champ, you know I love you, but I got to talk about this because this is just too funny. And what he was doing is he would get all of NorCal to try to back two of their players to play against me. And, you know, he would go up to all of those dudes from his area and make sure that they put $5, $10, $20 on their guy to back me. And he would push them hard, saying like, how can you not bet on your guy against Mike Ross? You're from NorCal. You got to support your community. This is where you're from. And, you know, and he would bet on me. I mean, you know, and they would bet on them. But then, like, before the match would start, then he would put some money on me. And, of course, I won both my matches there. And we did the same thing, like, just a month before against NorCal. And I went, like, 14-1. I won 14 money matches, you know, out there, and he was just like side betting on me at the same time. But he's the best. He needs to move down here now because I think I just killed his reputation in NorCal. They might be burning down his house now. I'm sorry. You can stay with me, Ryan. You can stay with me.
I mean, what the hell is this? Like the color of money with pool sharks? Or just, hey, I don't know how to play this Street Fighter 4. Want to bet $20?
Street Fighter 4, man. It's Street Fighter 4. This is how we get down. I mean, maybe not in LA. We don't do this in LA. That's only other places. That's why it was so funny to me. Like, that's just what they're used to. We're not used to that down here because we're just like so friendly down here. It's annoying how friendly we are.
Anything else? Like someone just breaking down after they lose? Something, I mean, just breaking all their shit after they lose. Fistfights.
I mean, honestly, that stuff only comes from Marvel. Street Fighter, has anything major happened in Street Fighter? I'm trying to think. After a major match? Not yet, but I think it's going to happen soon, and you'll be a part of the community, and you'll witness it once it does. But, you know, I recently, you know, I did an interview with this guy, Fnatic, for Marvel. I'll be putting that online in like a few weeks, maybe 2 weeks or something. And he explains a story that he had where he just played a guy from Texas in Marvel for $50,000.
Oh, only? Huh.
Only 50.
Yeah.
So that story in itself is like you're gonna be blown away once you hear it and everything because the story is really amazing. Here I am filming this guy, and I'm thinking, you're playing for $50,000. What am I doing with Street Fighter? You know, like goodness gracious. But interesting. It's interesting stuff. Street Fighter does not have that drama yet, only because the game is still new and people's egos have not reached that point where they feel they're unbeatable. Yeah. But once it does, then I'm pretty sure we'll be laughing at the $50,000 number.
No, it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming. Yeah, it's definitely coming. It'll happen. Just maybe give it a little more time.
All right. Well, Mike Ross, we've been going at it for well over an hour. And
yes, we have.
Yeah, and believe me, we could keep on talking, but I mean, I definitely want to have you on again so we could just talk about Super Street Fighter 4, what your thoughts of it, you know, after you do your training time, and, you know, get into some more stuff and so on. So for the people out there, Mike Ross, how do they follow you? What's the best way to see what you're doing?
I update my Twitter, not you know, 24 hours a day, you know, but I do try to update it every now and then. But you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/thatmikerossguy. And that's the same goes for my Facebook, facebook.com/thatmikerossguy. Xbox may not be the best place to message me, but if you feel like you need to send me a message or something on Xbox, my gamer tag is Vermillion with a 0. That's VERMILLI0N. I check that every now and then. Yeah, but those are the best ways to message me.
And let's see here. Okay, Vermillion. Don't play Sagat against Mike Ross.
Getting them notes down. I like it.
Yeah.
But I can promise you, you know, like if I come back on, then I'm pretty sure by then I will definitely be able to say a lot more than I could say now.
I just love that there's like this
I just don't know what kind of fallout would happen if I started talking right now.
You gave a big teaser for everybody. You gave a big teaser for me. I'm already going to work on booking you for next time around because, okay. I mean, I just want to know. I'm going to ask you, what the hell is a big secret with E Honda now? I mean, I just want to know, what did Capcom threaten you with that if you tell people about E Honda? By the way, he's got a new jab. Oh shit! Can't tell anybody.
Yeah, my hands would get cut off, so I can't talk.
Just going to be automatic banning from everywhere you go.
Automatic ban.
Well,
yeah.
Thank you, Mike Ross. I'm sure everybody is going to be enjoying this interview. I would say that I'm going to put another half of another half of us, me and my black guy, talking about a bunch of other stuff regarding the tester. But I think this itself is well more than worth it, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to enjoy it because I mean, you're Mike Ross.
Am I that guy?
You're that guy. You're that Mike Ross.
Thank you. Man.
I gotta admit, I love when I'm hearing I don't know what his name is, but when you're playing, it's like, is that Mike Ross? I'm like, yeah. It sort of flows better because it's like Mike Ross. You know, it sounds like you're a rapper, just Mike Ross.
The name flows off the tip of the tongue.
It does. It just comes off.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, it just works its way to Mike Ross. So, for everybody, website is original-gamer.com. You're listening to the #1 video game podcast. I have proof of it. Make sure to check out the rest of the podcast at original-gamer.com. Do a search on iTunes for Original Gamer, and make sure to check out our reviews, videos, and whatnot. So once again, thank you again, Mike Ross. For everybody, we'll check you out next time.
Thank you.